Hello everyone, Arun Vanagopal of WNYC here. It's my pleasure to introduce the Center for Traditional Music and Dances series, Beat of the Boroughs, NYC Online. This online series features over 50 of New York's leading traditional instrumentalists, dancers, singers, poets, and more. From Mongolia to Haiti, Colombia to the Gambia, among many others, they remind us how the strength of our country lies in its embrace of diversity and immigration. We want to celebrate these remarkable members of the New York community in these challenging times. So please enjoy these 50 programs, share them with your friends, and spread the word. Enjoy the show.
Hi, my name is Edwin Ferreras.
And I'm Dakota Romero, and we are the founders of Areito Arts.
Hello everyone, welcome to Areito Arts. Dakota and I are really excited to share our knowledge of Dominican arts and culture with you. Today's class is All Styles Merengue, where we're going to dive deep into the history, instrumentation, styles, and development of one of our favorite rhythms, merengue. When we say All Styles Merengue, this refers to the concept of merengue being a hub or a family tree. This means that merengue has many different variant forms and a lot of different substyles. So when you hear merengue for the first time, you might be hearing just one of these substyles. Understanding the history of merengue is also understanding a little bit of the history of the Caribbean. In the Caribbean, we have La Hispaniola, which is one of the largest islands, and this island is shared by two countries, Dominican Republic and Haiti. Now, in La Hispaniola, you had the clash of three cultures. The first being the indigenous culture, the indigenous peoples to the Caribbean and to La Hispaniola. In this case, we're talking about the Arawak group known as the Taínos. The second cultural clash comes by way of first European contact. Now, in Haiti, you had the French colony, and in Dominican Republic, you had the Spanish colony. So these two countries were colonized very differently. Of course, there's going to be a lot of cultural similarities, and that has a lot to do with the third cultural clash, which is the transatlantic slave trade, where a lot of African enslaved people were being brought from the western nations of Africa into the Caribbean. Now, understanding that these three cultures clash gives us a little bit of insight as to how the culture's arts develop. Now, why is merengue so important to us? Merengue is a grandparent dance and music form. This means that merengue is one of the first Afro-Caribbean partner dances in the entire Caribbean. One of the oldest and one that has influenced a lot of other dance styles and music styles. So we have son in the 1890s, we have bolero in the 1880s, we have danzón in the 1870s, but before all of that we had merengue. Now before merengue we did have other dance styles in the Caribbean, but these were not partner dances, these were court dances or country dances in which the men and the women were separated, so there was no contact. Merengue revolutionized the Caribbean culture because it introduced a dance that at first was seen as taboo. People weren't allowed to dance by holding hands unless you were married to that person. Now this means that merengue introduces this idea of counter dancing, meaning dancing with another person and by holding hands in close and open position. And of course, throughout the years, we'll have the development of turns and the different variations of closeness. Now let's talk about merengue music. The instrumentation for a típico merengue was originally tambora, guira, and accordion. Here you have your tambora. So when we talk about the clash of the three cultures, each culture is going to provide one very, very prominent and very important instrument into the mixture of what is merengue instrumentation. In this case, the tambora. The tambora is based on an African drum called the bata, which comes from the Bantu and the Yoruba traditions of Nigeria and the Congo. So the tambora is our African influence instrument in merengue. Next up, we have the guira. The guira is going to be our Arawak influence, meaning our Taíno influence. So this is going to be the indigenous instrument influence into the merengue family. Originally known as the guajej, which is a scraping instrument, In Cuba, you'll hear the güiro, which is the counterpart to this instrument, just made out of a different material. But the concept is the same. It's a scraping instrument. You can hit or scrape, and that's the indigenous influence into merengue. And of course, guitar. Your guitar is your European influence in merengue. It is a melodic instrument that could be used as the principal instrument for the melody or accompaniment, and this was our European influence. Merengue de guitarra, which means merengue with guitar, or merengue de cuerda, and that refers to any merengue that features a guitar in it, how it was originally played in the mid-1800s. In the 1870s, the original instrumentation changed by replacing the guitar, the acoustic guitar, with the accordion. The accordion is another European influence instrument and came to the Dominican Republic by the way of Austrian and German traders in the 1870s. And the staple sound of the accordion became a staple instrument in merengue. So now when we think about merengue típico, most likely we're thinking accordion, guira, and tambora. Now that we know a little bit about the instrumentation of merengue, accordion, guira, y tambora, or guitarra, guira, y tambora, it's also important to know where merengue started to develop in the Dominican Republic. Merengue was born in the region of El Cibao following the independence of the Dominican Republic. The first documentation or account of a merengue is attributed to Juan Bautista Alfonseca Barris, known as El Abuelo del Merengue, or the grandfather. Juan Bautista was a Dominican composer in the military in the Dominican Republic, and he's attributed to writing the first merengue called Tomás Huyó, which was a satire based on a general, Tomás, who fled the war, and this song became a mock. Now, of course, the song was never recorded, and only the lyrics have survived today. However, since that time, merengue has become the national music of the Dominican Republic. One of the key figures in the nationalization of the music was Luis Alberti, who was known as the father of merengue, el papá del merengue. And Luis Alberti wrote some of the most important and recognizable songs of our Dominican Republic. One of them being Compadre Pedro Juan, one of the most covered and known merengues in the entire country. Then we have the king of merengue, El Negrito del Batey, Joseito Mateo. Joseito Mateo was the first Dominican superstar entertainer and TV personality who sang, recorded, and played merengues, and also was a great dancer, which rose him to stardom early in his life. One of the most important women in merengue is Fefita la Grande. She is known as La Majimba del Merengue, La Vieja Fefa. A Majimbe or Majimba is like the highest rank of leadership in the First Nations and the indigenous nations. One of her iconic hits was Vamos a hablar inglés, Let's Speak English. And this was one of the biggest merengue hits, and still to this day very widely known, because it was also a satire in relations to the first Dominican migrants who settled in New York but spoke no English. So this song is a very relatable song for the first and second generations of Dominicans living in New York City. Mili Quesada, however, is regarded as La Reina del Merengue based on her success in the recording industry. She is one of the most decorated merengue artists who has won multiple Grammys and Premios Cassandra, which is one of the highest awards you can win in the Dominican Republic's recording industry. And of course, one of the most iconic group of all times, Las Chicas del Can. Originally formed by pianist Bertis Concepcion, Las Chicas del Can was one of the most important groups of their time because this was an all-female group and they were recording major hits that parallel some of the biggest superstars in merengue. Following Bertis Concepcion's exit from the group, Miriam Cruz takes over, and she also becomes one of the most important figures of Dominican music. Of course, accordion, guira, tambora, and or guitar are not the only instruments found in merengue today. You also have the introduction of pianos and horns, meaning your saxophones and your trumpets. And this brings us to the Afro roots and old styles merengue. Today we're going to focus on merengue de guitarra, merengue típico, perico ripiao, merengue folclórico, pambiche, merengue de orquesta, and merengue moderno or mambo. Let's start with merengue de guitarra, guitar merengue. It is sometimes referred to as bachatarengue or bacharengue, due to the similarities in instrumentation to a bachata song. Many people confuse merengue de guitarra for a bachata due to the presence of the guitar. However, it is very important to note that in merengue, you featured tambora as your percussion instrument, as your African influence instrument. In bachata, however, you have the bongos, which give you a very different tone and a very different feel for the rhythm. So merengue de guitarra will feature your tambora, your guira, and your guitar.
Di que son buenas todas las mujeres, di que son buenas, pero ninguna como mi Elena, pero ninguna como mi Elena. Y con mi morena voy a arrullar,
Con mi morena quiero gozar,
ahí en Puerto Rico voy a bailar,
con mi morena quiero gozar,
con mi morena voy a gozar,
con mi morena quiero gozar,
con mi morena voy a arrollar,
con mi morena quiero gozar,
ahí en Nueva York voy a vacilar.
con mi morena quiero gozar,
Yo me voy con ella para amasar,
con mi morena quiero gozar,
y en mi Quisqueya voy a
con
arrollar.
mi morena quiero gozar.
Ando buscando mamá a María Elena, ando buscando a María Elena, porque está prieta, si es cosa buena, porque está prieta, si es cosa buena. Todas las mujeres di que son buenas, todas las mujeres di que son buenas, pero ninguna como mi Elena. Y con mi morena voy a bailar,
Con mi morena quiero gozar,
en Puerto Rico voy a gozar,
con mi morena quiero gozar,
yo me voy con ella para amasar,
con mi morena quiero gozar,
allí en la Luisa voy a gozar,
con mi morena quiero gozar,
y en España voy a bailar,
con mi morena quiero gozar,
allá en Francia voy a arrollar,
con mi morena quiero gozar,
y en el este voy a bailar.
con mi morena quiero gozar.
Con mi morena voy a gozar,
Con mi morena quiero gozar,
con mi morena voy a bailar.
con mi morena quiero gozar,
Yo quiero beber, quiero vacilar,
con mi morena quiero gozar,
con mi morena voy a arrollar.
con mi morena quiero gozar.
La prieta Elena se da unos humos, la prieta Elena se da unos humos, que de los hijos no conoce a ninguno, que de los hijos no conoce a ninguno.
Next up, merengue típico, also known as perico ripiao. A perico ripiao, even though it can have a guitar, usually the typical instruments will be accordion, guira, and tambora. Next up, merengue showcase, folclórico, or folklore. The merengue folclórico is part of the pride and joy of national music in Dominican Republic, being merengue. This is the merengue that is used for showcases, presentations, and carnivals to showcase the beauty of our colors and the choreographies with couples and or groups. In this merengue, we have your tambora, your guira, and then the addition of horns, like trumpets and saxophones.
Compadre Pedro Juan, baila el jaleo. Compadre Pedro Juan, que está sabroso. Aquella niña de los ojos verdes que tiene el cuerpo flexible, baile la venganza. Compadre Pedro Juan, no pierde el tiempo. Compadre Pedro Juan, saca de su dama. Acaba el merengue, si no anda con cuidado, se quedará como perico atrapado. Apriete la mano, por la madrugada, compadre Juan, se dio de lado, apambicao, se dio brincao, apriete la mano, por la madrugada, de aquí para allá. Apriete la mano por la madrugada, apambicao, medio brincao, medio de lado, de aquí para allá, de allá para acá, compadre Juan, apriete la mano por la madrugada.
Next up, merengue apambichao, which means a merengue that has been slowed down to about the BPM of a pambiche. The pambiche was a style that became very popular in the 1820s during the occupation of the United States in the Dominican Republic. So this particular merengue became a little bit easier to dance due to a slower speed. And in this merengue, you have the same instrumentation as your merengue folclórico, meaning you have your horns, your guira, and your tambora.
Ojalá que llueva café en el campo, que caiga un aguacero de yuca y té, del cielo una harina de queso blanco y al sur una montaña de berro y miel. Oh, 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 oh. Alto cerro de trigo y mapuey, baja por la colina de arroz graneado y continúa el arado con tu querer. Oh, 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 oh. Ojalá el otoño en vez de hojas secas vista mi cosecha y sale. Sembra una llanura de batata y fresas, ojalá que llueva café. Pa' que en el conuco no se sufra tanto, ay, hombre.
Ojalá que llueva café en el campo.
Pa' que en Villa Vázquez oigan este canto.
Ojalá que llueva café en el campo.
Ojalá que llueva, ay, hombre.
Ojalá que llueva café en el campo.
Ojalá que llueva café.
Merengue de orquesta came about in the época de oro, in the golden age of merengue. And it was the big band influence from the United States into merengue. So now you have a merengue orchestra with many sections of horns. You have tambora, guira, and you may have other additional instruments like the piano.
Mirar tus ojos que aún no aprenden a mentir. Me gusta mirar tu boca hecha para sonreír. Me gusta mirar tu pelo cuando te lo enreda el viento. Me gusta sentir tus manos y tu aliento. Me gusta escuchar tu voz y su acento y las palabras que son ruidos de tus pensamientos. Me gusta cuando me dices que estás tan enamorada, que tus mejores momentos son cuando estás a mi lado. Y si esto no es amor, ¿cómo se puede llamar? ¿Cómo te puedo decir lo que no puedo explicar? Solo diciendo que te quiero y no comprendo. ¿Cómo he podido vivir sin ti? ¿Cómo he podido vivir sin ti? ¿Cómo he podido vivir sin ti hasta este momento? Todo me gusta de ti. Todo me gusta de ti. Me gusta sentir tus pasos cuando te estoy esperando. Me gusta sentir que un beso puede dejarnos temblando. Me gusta cuando me abrazas y me siento tan pequeño.
And of course, your modern merengue, merengue moderno, otherwise known as mambo. Mambo in its own is a very big family tree in the Dominican Republic because it features a lot of substyles. So you might have your mambo violento, mambo callejero, mambo urbano, and these are all subgenres to the mambo root style. Now keep in mind, the word mambo means very different things depending on the context of the culture in the Caribbean. So the word mambo in Cuba may mean something very different than in Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. In the Dominican Republic, mambo refers to a style or subgenre of merengue music. The way to distinguish a mambo from any other style of merengue is the introduction of a kick drum. The kick drum will play the downbeats 1 and 2 to produce a more danceable feel behind the main percussion, which are the guira and the tambora. Now let's learn some of the dance fundamentals of merengue. Alright, let's get into the fundamental movements of merengue. Now, I put on my white shoes so you can see a little bit closer the connection between my feet and the ground. Merengue has a certain level of groundedness that is very different from a lot of other Afro-Caribbean dances. Whereas in bachata, when you're stepping, you're lifting the heel and pressing from the ball to the heel. 3, break, 1, step. So 3 steps and 1 break. Notice how my heel's lifting and pressing my foot from the ball to the heel. Yep. In bolero, there's going to be a certain level of push. 3, 4, 1, push and drag. 1, push and drag, 1. So there's a little bit more closer connection between my foot and the ground. In son, 2, 3, 4. Even though it's a circular dance, you'll notice there's a lot more lifting of the heel and the toe. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, or 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4. Notice that movement changes as I do different things with my feet. However, when you're dancing merengue, the movements are going to be produced by the flatness of the foot connecting to the ground. So in this case, we have a 2-step dance, duple meter, and the connection between my footwork and the ground is a little bit more parallel and flat as opposed to ball to heel, pushed, or heel to ball, or completely lifted. This produces a certain level of heaviness. If you can hear it, this creates an accent. And of course, you have a lot of freedom as to where you take your steps. It could be a circular dance, it could be a stationary dance, and you can add rotations to it. So this is going to be the beginning of your merengue footwork. a little bit closer to flat than from ball to heel, like a lot of other dance styles. Now, let's talk about some basic body movement. In merengue, we have the popular 3 main hips in the Dominican Republic, which are your side hips, which happen from the change of the weight. Yep, you can get another side. 1, 2, 1, 2. So you're not pushing the hips to the side. The hips are moving because of the way that I'm connecting my footwork to the ground. That change of weight automatically produces an effect of transfer, which causes the hip on the other side to prepare to take the next step. And that's how you continue to change the weight. 1, 2, 1, 2. You also have your rounded hips, 1, 2, or your figure 8, which is also very popular in bachata. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And of course, this is going to depend on the comfort of your own body. So you might have to try this one, maybe a little bit more toned down, a little bit more loose, until you find and calibrate something that works for your body. And then you have your pop or your tuck, which also happens to be a very popular movement in urban dancing, in merengue urbano. In this case, there's a contraction of the pelvic area, and you pop on every downbeat, which produces a bounce that's going with the flow of the downbeat. So you're going downwards as the upbeat comes in, and then you're going upwards as the downbeat comes in. This produces what we call the natural upbeat bounce. And this is found both in merengue and in bachata. You can also have a downbeat bounce, which is when your body is going downwards on the downbeats, producing a down accent on each beat. A very different feel of your hip. So always make sure to give those a try, the different ways of moving your body. The different ways of moving your body. All right? Now let's talk about the swing. Merengue con swing, right? Merengue has a lot of swing. This is one way to do your swing with the hips and a bop. You can also do it with a side drag. And next up, the circular motions in your hips, which can happen in either direction. Usually happens to the direction you're more comfortable with, and this could be with or without a partner. In this case, I'm gonna go to my left, starting with my right foot. Step right and circle, right and circle, right and circle, right and circle, right. And notice my torso's close to straight. You're not really using your torso to make the circles. You're isolating the hip area. Round and round and round and round. And at the end of this, you can start right or left, depending on which side you started. As you're dancing with your partner, you want to always come back to a home so that you can dance symmetrical to your partner. Yeah, let's try that again. Right, left, right, left. Here's the hip, circle, and round, and round, and round, and round, and round, and round, and back to the basic. I go right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Yep. That is it for your body movement. Again, there's so many more choices. You can always reach back to us for more ideas or to get further into your study. For now, let's get into some music. Start with a nice prep. This is what we call the winding up the motor motion, and then you get into the beat. Let's start by going open, open, close, close. Like this. Open, open, close, close. Open, open, close, close. Open, open, close, close. Open, open, and stop. Now let's try the same thing, starting with the right foot. And open, open, close, close. Open, open, close, close. Open, open, close, close. Back to the basic. Now let's try different body energies. Here's your tamed energy, more classic merengue. You can take that around. You can bring it back to a more modern feel, where you drop your weight a little bit. You can add it in and out. Forward, forward, forward. Or you can add a tumbao. Drop, 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 and back to the basic. Let's try adding those hip
Yo
circles.
voy a vacilar.
1, 2,
Yo me voy con ella para allá
5,
amasar.
6,
Mi
back to
quince
the
allá voy
basic.
a arrollar.
You can do a left turn. You can do a right turn. Now it is very popular in merengue to push your turns as you're going to the direction. So for instance, for a left turn, I push from my right foot in front. For my right turn, I push from my left foot in front. This is what we call the push turn in merengue. Let's try it. Left turn. Right turn. Now notice, because there is no tap in merengue, it is very important to always maintain that weight transfer so you don't get stuck with a tap, especially if you're new to dancing merengue. You can add a cross-cross like this. Cross-cross, open, open, cross-cross, open, open.
Ando buscando mamá a
Basic.
María Elena.
Let's add a drop on the
Ando
left like
buscando
this.
a María Elena. Porque esta piedra si es cosa
You can hear the
buena.
guitar in the
Porque esta
background.
piedra si es cosa buena. Todas las
Let's add a
mujeres
drop on the
di
right
que son
side.
buenas. Todas las mujeres di que son buenas. Pero ninguna como mi Elena.
back
Y
to
con mi
basic.
morena voy a bailar. En Puerto Rico voy a
Speed it
bailar.
up.
Yo me voy con ella para allá amasar.
Drop it on the
Aquí
right.
en la Luisa voy a gozar. Y en España voy a bailar.
Basic.
Allá en Francia voy a arrollar.
Let's add a drop on
Y
every
en
other
el
beat.
este voy a bailar.
Let's add a drop on every beat. Notice how the energy of the music changes. Now back to the tamed energy, smaller steps. Bring it around, any direction. Other side. And let's add a swing. You can add a swing with the hips, with your arms, with a bop. Hip circles. Basic.
Con mi
Some other
morena voy a
movements
gozar.
include backstepping,
Con mi morena voy a bailar. Yo quiero beber, quiero vacilar.
dragging,
Con mi morena voy a arrollar. La
You can
piel
do
de
it on either
Elena
side.
se da unos humos. La piel de Elena se da unos humos. Que de los hijos no
You can pick up
conoce a
your feet
ninguno.
like the guira
Que de
spray.
los hijos no conoce a ninguno. Todas
Back
las
to your
mujeres
basic.
y que son buenas. Todas las mujeres y que son
We're almost
buenas.
done. Keep it going, keep it going.
Pero ninguna como mi Elena y con mi morena
Let's
voy a
add
bailar.
a chest.
Con mi morena quiero gozar.
It is another very popular movement coming from palos and acabares.
Ay, con mi Elena voy a arrollar. Allá.
How? You can mash it. Basic, right, left, right, left. Push turn. And take your bow. All right, that was our merengue dance to put all the fundamentals into effect. Now let's get back to class. Woo! Wow, y'all have me sweating. Wow, thank you so much everyone. Dakota and I are just always thrilled to share Dominican arts with you all. Make sure you stay in touch with us at YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of our social media at Areito Arts. That way you can stay up to date with all of our projects. We have a lot of really cool projects coming up very soon. Or you can learn also from Dakota and I online at areitoartsonline.com. That's where you can take our bachata classes. We have 3 levels there. It's a membership service, Netflix style, so you pay a membership and you have access to all of the courses there. And also, if you're interested in hiring us for an event or taking private classes or training with us, check out our website, areitoarts.com, where you can learn more about how you can get involved with Areito and or hire us for your services. Of course, we're going to provide more resources. We're going to provide a reading list for those of you who are nerds like us and who would love to learn about bachata, merengue, bolero, son, dembow, Dominican culture, culture of the Caribbean. We have some books that we definitely recommend. We will also love to invite you all to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Areito Arts, where we have tons of free content from merengue, bachata, son, bolero. We have a lot of playlists. We have free video tutorials. Thank you so much, everyone. Dakota and I want to send you all a big hug and can't wait to see everyone in person somewhere.
Areito.